My name's Alex Macmillan of Success Moves, and in this video I am going to tell you about the opportunity for sales executives that is coming up. First of all, I'd like to tell you a bit about the company, the background, what sort of things they do and what the job would be there like, and also I'll talk about Dubai, where that's the office we're specifically recruiting for at the moment. And then I'll talk about our interview process day and the selection process. So first of all, the company I've known since its inception, actually 12 years ago. In fact, the founder was a client of mine before he founded this business, and he's risen really in the City of London to be really the lead company in their niche of property investment. That's investment they focus on rather than retail estate agency, which is quite a different market. I know that they're leading because I've had their competitors talk to me, and when I ask them what is their goal, it's to actually to be as good as my client here. So we've built them up. They've got over 40 people now, growing quite considerably. They've also got offices in North America and the Middle East, which we're recruiting for now. So they're doing quite well. In a market, like any market, goes up and down, but real estate and property investment has certain advantages, particularly in this AI developing world where jobs are being made obsolete, others being created. Buildings, offices, shops, factories, homes, any form of building is still something that we're going to require in the future, so it's fairly protected against that. In fact, AI gives advantages to those that adapt it and move forward. So we're looking to take people on board at different levels of sales. It can be totally trainee to an experienced sales closer, not necessarily in the investment or property background market, because the company always gives a lot of training. I mean, the first week will be purely training, but training is an ongoing thing. It doesn't actually stop, and they highly encourage personal development. All of your time to read the top books on sales, investment, property, self-motivation, achieving goals, wealth, and so on. So that's encouraged, and that's the environment. It's a very hard-working, play-hard environment. This is for somebody who really wants to build wealth and really get some wealth behind them themselves and earn quite a very considerable income. So if you're looking for a more steady career, this isn't it. The investment industry generally typically pays low basic salaries and high commissions. It pays low basics to not put anybody under too much pressure of getting to work, eating, paying the rent, etc., but not to be attractive so as to because if the basic salary is attractive, they don't go for the deals. And the sort of people they want are looking for high income, and you can't pay high basics and high income because you've got to pay for people who don't actually produce. They have their own philosophy in that. And in fact, in the position in Dubai, you will get in fact, the flight will be overpaid for, or accommodation will be found for you and free to you, and you'll be getting a basic salary. And in fact, commission really starts from day one as you start to actually get involved, which I'll explain in a moment. So the company's invested, looked for high net worth individuals or sophisticated investors primarily, for all sorts of things. Some of them are regulated products like property bonds, but it could be spaces in car parks, parts of hotels, or major skyscraper developments, or complete towns being built, whatever. So there's some interesting things in there. It tends to be some high commissions available because we're talking about a lot of money available. The beautiful thing about any property is very leverageable. If you've got 100 grand to invest in shares, you get 100 grand's worth of shares. If you've got 100 grand and you want to invest it in property, you can invest $1 million by leveraging it because finance is a lot easier. So it tends to be a lot bigger. So that is the market we're talking about. The work, you're going to be on the telephone a lot talking to people. So you've got to have a good, clear voice, clear, crystal English, accentless. If I can tell where you're from on the phone, you've got an accent, and that's not good. Also, we don't know any slang or slurry words or jargon or phrases like, do you know what I mean, repeated. Investors do not want to hear from this, and you don't buy from anyone who's not got crystal clear English. They certainly don't want, when there's hundreds of thousands of pounds involved, to be confused on what exactly they heard and what the amount was. It's fast moving, it's with an urgency. The office hours tend to be delayed. They start late and work late because investors tend to be available that time. But of course, if you're looking into international markets, that in itself can vary. So we're looking for Dubai. We really want people who can move to Dubai at short notice. We're looking for 3 or 4 people at the moment. There's a team of half a dozen there now that have established quite some success so far, which we wish to build on. And they really want them to start immediately so they can all be trained together and so forth. Somebody coming a month later does not impossible to do, but obviously it creates not an ideal situation. So we're really looking for people who can move quickly, or if they're in current work, that they can talk their boss into letting them go quite quickly. It'll be very competitive on the day, and I'll go into that in a moment. You know, although there's 3 or 4 positions being available, so it's not just one that you're competing for. So the company, I'm deliberately not telling the name, as they've asked me not to, because in the past they've been plagued by people, their salespeople, who have got, you know, targets to hit and start getting calls and LinkedIn requests from candidates wanting more information or to get an advantage, or from rival recruitment agencies or something. So I give a presentation at the start of the interview process day, a thorough presentation, at least half an hour, and gives confidential information that we don't really want to do, you know, on the internet or through a video like this. But we'll give you all of that. You needn't know anything about the company. You're not going to be caught out on questions about the company, but they're well established. They have an incredible quality reputation. They want people that are honest and full of integrity, because this is what gets return customers, apart from the ethical value of that, and builds a long-term business. So we're looking for people who are building a long-term career, not the get-rich-quick types that want to work hard in the first 1 or 2 months, and actually, you know, it's not going to happen in that time scale. It will take a while before you really learn it, develop your own portfolio, understanding, niche, doing it. You start, if you've not got sales experience, as what we call an opener, and then develop to more closing, dealer level things later on, which we'll go into more on the day. But you're talking to people on the phone, so you need to be persuasive, clear. You need to enjoy it as well. You need to be able to talk to different types of people. You need to also be a bit thick-skinned sometimes, because you're going to get a lot of rejection. Any sales job is much more rejection than it is acceptance. So if you make a whole day of calls and get nowhere, if you come in on day 2 and your morale is a bit low, then it's not for you. You've got to be quite hard and be able to take a lot of rejection and never give up. A lot of people give up in many of their careers, actually, when they find, because all jobs are, you know, the initial paid parts are not that easy as they quite often thought. Sales is a lot more than people who've not done it. There's a lot more involved in it. I've been a trainer. If you go on Amazon, you can see the books on sales I've written, and I learn something virtually every day that's new. It goes on. The communication, you can never get better at communication, and persuasive techniques, developing rapport, which you'll all be trained on, and that's why I say it's a continuing training to increase your benefits. Now, Dubai market is different in the property market. the Dubai economy is like one of the world's most successful economies. I mean, virtually every Emirati is a millionaire. Their wealth in Dubai is considerable. Contrary to popular belief, Dubai is not, their wealth is not based on oil. In fact, their oil income is not even 1% of their GDP in Dubai. Other Emirates have more oil, like Abu Dhabi next door, but they don't. Their wealth did not come from oil. Their wealth came from their own enterprise, and they had a desert in the middle of of Arabia to actually start from. So it's a considerable achievement, and when you get to Dubai, you'll more understand. It's a very different culture and style. The sheikhs who built it up are very British influenced. Britain used to have a lot of connection, and we protected them actually for decades. And in fact, most of the sheikhs, including the chief sheikh, all graduated and been to Britain and graduated as army officers and so forth. And their leadership style and influence from Britain and favourable relations with Britain is very strong indeed. If you look at the expats, about 90% of the people in Dubai are foreigners. They're not locals, which is really quite weird. But if you look at the Europeans, by far the most is Britain, followed by Germany, then France. But German and French people in Dubai added together are less than Brits in Dubai. So you'll meet a lot of British people, and the real business language is English, so you can settle in quite easy. Lifestyle in Dubai, it's nice and warm. It could be too warm in the summer, but rest assured every single building is air conditioned, right down to the parking lots for Deliveroo drivers, bus stops, everything is literally air conditioned, so you needn't spend much time out. There's a luxury lifestyle, but you must remember when you're going to Dubai, you're going there to work and build your career, you're not going as a tourist. So my advice to you is to work very hard until you are successful, until you can rest a bit, until the money starts coming in and you're feeling more confident. Then start looking, more around Dubai and the endless attractions that it offers. There's a lot of wealth there. You're selling in Dubai and the further Gulf areas to people that have money, which is quite refreshing from other markets where people are, a lot of businesses are struggling or individuals are struggling. That makes it easier. And the property there is, the yield on property rentals in Dubai is just under double what it is in the UK. And of course, you have pretty much zero crime rate in Dubai, which is hard to get used to. So, you don't have bad behaviour tenants or so forth, if you're in the residential market. So it's quite different. They're building, all paid for in cash. They're expanding businesses. They use so much renewable energy, which is odd for maybe people don't really associate that with a Gulf Arab country. In fact, they've got a plan by 2030 to be 100% renewable, which means they can attract businesses that have zero cost for energy, not in cars, not in offices, not in factories, which gives them a considerable trading advantage. So it's an exciting place to be. It's all going forward. There are so many positive stories I can tell you about success, and I will do on the day and when we meet. But Dubai is a great place to live. In fact, most people who go to Dubai go to earn, obviously all the income is tax-free. They go to save and build up some wealth, planning to come back to the UK in a couple of years, but then they stay because they really do like and prefer to live in Dubai. There's no crime, luxury lifestyle, no income tax. The advantages are endless. But you've got to work hard to secure your position. You've got to learn this new industry, and there's a lot to learn. So please make sure that you get that right. Now, we always recruit for what we call our interview process days. We do everything on one day. So we do first interviews, second interviews, presentations on the company. We do role plays, everything on the day. So at the end of the interview process day, you will be offered or you will be rejected. We will be totally upfront about that. and give you any feedback if we can on the day of our decisions and what they're choosing. But basically, it's we have role plays and you're marked on those role plays and score, and it's appropriateness for this market, this type of industry, and this company. They're looking for they're looking for people who are very ambitious. Now, as I said, the senior managers in the company have actually come through Success Moves many years ago, so we've had a long track record with the company. And I can say in Dubai, going back to Dubai, I've met people who have earned over £1 million a year, tax-free, in Dubai in real estate investment. Now, I've met more than one in that category, but I've met a lot more in the category that really haven't cracked it at all. So, don't assume it's easy. It's not, but the opportunity there is quite considerable to do. And it's fun, exciting environment, but you've got to go with a work hard attitude to actually build wealth. On the interview process day, come smart. I'm not wearing a tie at the moment. You certainly need to wear a tie, a suit, be well shaved, smart, polished shoes, and to come across as positive, full of energy. In fact, the personal characteristics are more important than your CV background. They're looking for attitude. They're looking for, and we're looking for, where you're going to go next year rather than where you were last year. And this is, the criteria of these, frankly, elite sales positions that we're offering in a booming market. So I hope to see you on the next interview process day for our real estate team in Dubai, and wish you every success. Thank you for listening.